Welcome to the Gnarly Girls podcast.
What's up, gnarly beings?
This is a loose-lipped, unfiltered, raw-dogging, stripping down of culture.
No fucks, no panties. This is a labia of love.
We're your hosts, Tony Naj
and Serafina Supernova. And this is Gnarly Girls. I was just communicating to his spirit that if he's not going to show up in physical form, then he's hexed energetically as well. What a coward.
Okay, let's talk about what's going on. So basically, I got a hate email on Monday night. That was pretty aggressive. And you know what's also really funny about it? It came in through an email that was attached to my old blog. That was like my mommy blog, like my feminist mommy blog. So I'm not exactly sure like how he got that particular email address and if this dude was reading my feminist mom content.
I mean, I could see how that content specifically would be even more upsetting than your anti-capitalist, anti-patriarchy content. Because feminist mom blog in its own right is a revolutionary act.
But you know what the thing about that blog was is that I only call it feminist in so much that I was talking from a woman's point of view. I was really just expressing my life and going deep into it. And one of my biggest fans was a super intense motorcycle dude who was very conservative, very right wing, had lots of guns, just your classic quote unquote alpha male. And he read my blog every single day for 8 years.
Why?
I don't know. And he would always comment on Facebook about it.
What would he say?
He just would, he enjoyed it. He liked my blog. He just enjoyed it. I actually had a lot of male fans that would read this blog about parenting and the stories with my child. I mean, honestly, it was philosophical in the sense that I was analyzing everything that happened, something would happen, she would have a tantrum about shoes or something and I would make it about a bigger issue. So in that way, I guess it was relatable. A lot of people who didn't have kids would read it too.
I mean, your slut friend, Sarah, who pretty much just studies people's OnlyFans for fun, just wants to tell you that they were probably relating to you as their mommy dom.
Oh my God, that's so interesting. I never really thought about it.
Yeah, they were getting off on you being mommy, philosophical mommy. They want you. They're like, yes, the tantrum your child is having about their shoes is also the tantrum I had. Heal me, mommy dom.
Oh, wow. That is some deep shit. Thank you for reflecting that back to me.
You're just out here, an unintentional sex worker. But honestly, the email sequence that you sent to me between you and this hater feels sexual. It feels sexually charged on his end. That's not just aggression and hate. It's I feel like he wants to hate fuck you, which is why he couldn't show up.
Yeah. So I want to go through the emails because we have them as content. But the reason why Sarah and I are doing this podcast is I invited him to be on the podcast. So he wrote me this hate email and I just responded, "Are you okay?" Because it was aggressive. And then he responded, "I'm okay. Are you okay?" is the question. And then he goes on and on and on. And then I responded, maybe I said something snarky, but not too snarky. We can analyze it, go through it. But then I asked him if he wanted to be on the podcast, and he said yes. And I suggested he bring a friend so he didn't feel gangbanged by us. I didn't want to.
You should be so happy.
I didn't want to gang rape energetically by having two women to talk to. So I told him to invite a friend so we could be a conversation. And he didn't show. He didn't show for the podcast.
So not showing up and not saying anything about it says everything about who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Like beyond you just being like a bogus human in general, we were going to give this guy the benefit of the doubt. You were like, yesterday when we were talking, and I was thinking about this in the shower this morning, and I was like, I wonder if Tony's going to start out with this, because I think it's a brilliant question. Like, when is the last time you shat your pants?
That's how I was.
Real, I knew you were going to do that, and really just like even out the playing field. Like we were going to we weren't entering this like hard tits blazing, ready to pew, pew, pew out of the nipples. Like we were ready to hold compassionate space and like find common ground.
Let me read you the questions that I was going to ask.
Love that you wrote them down.
Okay, I wrote them down on my Easy Pass bill.
Hot.
Okay, so I was going to start with, what was your favorite cereal as a kid?
Honey Bunches of Oats.
Honey Bunches?
Yeah.
I liked honeycomb.
Oh, we were both on the honey.
Yeah. Last time you shat your pants?
Honestly, I was thinking about this. Like I was 5, and that's a real Capricorn answer with a Leo moon, because I'm too conceited to shit my pants.
Oh, I shit my pants.
I know you do. It's your whole brand.
So, but this was the thing about, I was thinking about it, like the last time I shat my pants, I was actually on the phone, and my kid was like doing her homework, and I'm on the phone, and I'm kind of like negotiating, like going through my normal protocol of how I handle shitting my pants. And she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I just shat my pants," you know? I'm like on the phone. And then I had to ask myself, like, Tony, why do you have a normal protocol for how you deal with shitting your pants?
You know what? Respect. Our autoimmune conditions all present in different ways. Our chronic inflammation has different ways of excreting itself.
Okay, the third question I was going to ask everyone was, what is your primal wound?
That I was my parents' parent.
Oh, sick. Mine is that love is conditional.
Mm.
And I have to be who people want me to be in order to be deserving of love. Then I was going to ask, who are you jealous of? Either like a specific person or a type of person?
The answer that just came into my head was funny. So it's not a person, but I will tell you.
Okay.
Like Archangel Michael or Archangel Gabriel, I just feel like they're very hot and like non-binary and trans, and I am jealous. And I do wish I was Archangel Michael or Archangel Gabriel, and I was in a very gay angel gangbang on a daily basis. And that is my real and final answer.
I am jealous of people who, like, other people want to help. Like, you know, those people, they're like, oh, I know someone who you should talk to, or you should do this, or let me help you with that. Like anyone that just elicits help and like other people wanting to take care of them.
So you're jealous of yourself?
Nobody helps me.
Oh, no, I thought you meant people who offer the help. Like I thought
I want to be the person I help.
Oh, okay. I like that. I relate to that, actually.
I'm very jealous.
I am jealous of the people that I help. It's true. We still give really good support, though. Like, we will listen. And something that I feel like I told you in December, I don't remember what it was about. Oh, I had just gone to see my family for Thanksgiving, and I was like processing a lot. And I went through my usual spiel of like this, and this happened, because I'm just like so used to people asking 0 follow-up questions so we can like get to them and I can ask them questions. And you just like kept asking me questions, and I was like, is this okay?
Yeah.
You ask a lot of good questions. Anyways.
Thank you. Yeah, just anyone that like elicits help, I'm jealous of. Okay, and then the last question I was going to ask, these were all just to get to know you questions, was what do you like most about yourself?
My tenacity.
Same.
Like, we're just down. We're down AF.
Yeah.
Like, we were so down to troll this troll in a kind.
I didn't want to troll a troll. I wanted to get to
That was
know
my
I wanted to know if my assumptions of him were correct, because
No, I wasn't going to troll him.
Yeah. And I wanted to know like where we connect, like I wanted to get to know him genuinely and like what it felt for him to send me this email. Like what did it feel like in his body? Where I wanted to analyze it together with him. And I wanted his voice to be part of the conversation. And so now that's not happening. And I'm like sad because I did want his voice to be part of the conversation because I think his voice is important. But now we have to fill in the void of his voice. I'm just going to check to see if he responded.
Like, how am I supposed to breastfeed an incel in consciousness if they don't even show up for the fucking interview? This is this would have been like a free coaching and spiritual session for him. Like he probably like in light TBH.
I definitely would have offered a healing by the end.
Yeah, I would have guided a meditation. We could have done some square breathing together.
100% some square breathing. Yeah. So
the amount of emojis in these, I just have it pulled up on my monitor to the side. So I'm looking at the emails as sculptures and he sent so many emojis.
Oh, yeah, a good amount of emojis, which I guess they're happening on the phone. So maybe we could just like go over it and analyze it. So I did make a video going over the first one.
You stupid bitch.
So I do suggest you watch the video where I analyze the first one and we can maybe like gloss over it a little bit, but I think we should read it in case you haven't heard it, right?
Yeah. Do you want me to be the hater and you to be you? Should we go back and forth?
Let's take turns.
Okay.
Okay, do you want to read the first one since I already?
I'll read the first one. You stupid, all caps, stupid, all caps, stupid bitch, all caps, lots of exclamation points. You seriously think that by waving your fucking arms around, making stupid moves like a damn ape is going to get your message across? Well, sorry, little girl, it's not. You have made yourself the laughingstock of this country. All my friends sit around and laugh at your utter stupidity. Obviously, you were dropped on your head one too many times by your mother. Clearly, your father was not present. And I was told you are married. My God, how it must be embarrassing for him to be married to you. That's horrible grammar. I bet he is a beta male. But hey, keep making a jackass out of yourself. It has been the best entertainment I've seen in a while. Thumbs up, laugh face. P.S. If you actually do live in New Hampshire, please do the world a favor and stay there. Now I can check that state off as a place to visit. That required a lot of constraint to not peek the mic. So just...
All right. So the thing I want to say that I think is really interesting about this is that this guy's intention is to like hurt my feelings or offend me. And I think this is the problem with like a lot of trolls is they're not intuitive enough to actually understand what I'm genuinely insecure about. So it's like he's calling me stupid. That is not one of my insecurities at all. In fact, I'm pretty arrogant about my intelligence. Like my dad is a Harvard professor and he's probably a certified genius and I am convinced I'm smarter than him. So like him saying that is just kind of showing to me, I'm like, oh, you're not very intuitive about what is the core of a human. And I think that like because I'm so versed in looking at body language and how people hold their bodies and looking at their facial structure, I mean, I've spent a lifetime in the healing arts. It's more obvious to me like what people's like deep insecurities are. And so if I were to give this guy advice on how to troll someone, it would be like you'd have to be so infinitely more intuitive to understand where I'm genuinely insecure. Because everything he's saying, it's like nothing is touching a nerve. Like maybe the only thing that could have potentially touched a nerve is like being like, obviously your dad wasn't around. And I was like, but it doesn't even, because my dad lived in the same house with me. He was not energetically that involved. Like,
and that's not like a unique issue. Like fathers being removed from their family is not a product of you and your circumstance. It's like capitalism, classism, patriarchy. Like it's not directly related to you at all.
Yeah, I don't like see that as like an indicator of like, oh, my dad thinks I'm not worthy of love or something. Like that's not where I've done. I think the other thing is I've done too much like emotional work, and I've spoken too openly about all my insecurities, that it would take someone that was like really observing me deeply to cut me. I mean, you get what I'm saying? So I think like that is one of the issues with trolling, is that if you want to do it well, sir, you have to be so much more intuitive. And someone who's going to be that intuitive probably isn't that interested in trolling. I think that's kind of
Yeah, because trolling is like coming from such a low level of consciousness. Like there's so many other things you could do that are more like highbrow and intuitive to like disrupt someone. And this is just like, it's just like the playground. It's like very low level consciousness.
yeah. And I think the other thing that I felt in my body when I read this email, I'm like, oh, this is someone who has a lot of anxiety. And like, I think that just was like, I was just like feeling his anxiety. So this is the other thing of like, when you expose yourself to someone who practices the healing arts, it's like you're going to be revealing a lot of unconscious information about yourself to me, and I think that's the other thing. I mean, I'm sure that trolling does hurt some people's feelings, without a doubt. I don't know. But I was never bullied. That's another thing. I don't have like a bullied imprint, so I am also not triggered by that. I think if maybe I had been bullied or something, like maybe like, oh, this reminds me of when I was young and I was being bullied, but I'm just like, that's not that just didn't happen to me. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, there's also no solid points. Like him saying like it's only lonely cat ladies and men who decided they couldn't cut the mustard.
I don't know. We got to go to that. We're still on email 1.
Yeah. I'm just like, the point is like, there's no, like he's almost stuck in a time warp. And I'm confused as to what you could have been saying that would be upsetting to him personally. Like that's the thing that continues to get me. It's like, what about what you're saying is specifically bipartisan? Because to me, it doesn't register as that. It actually registers as like its own realm. Like you're not like, yeah, you're just like not playing in a bipartisan ballpark, huh?
You think that what I'm saying is not specifically partisan? Like my messaging is more bipartisan?
No, like your messaging isn't like it doesn't, well, I guess I'm saying it confusingly. Like I feel like your messaging doesn't speak to one political party. It's kind of like anti-party, anti-establishment. So what about like why are people so loyal to, well, we already know this. We've answered this on so many episodes. We know why people are loyal to the parties, but I just don't feel like your content is so specifically quote unquote left wing that it would upset a right wing person like this. Like it's either like, I feel like if your work exists in two different realms, it's like establishment versus anti-establishment. So what about the establishment is supporting this man, and why is he so loyal to it? And why is what you're talking about so threatening? That's something I would want to ask him, because I feel like if I really read between the lines, it sounds like he's not interested in control, but then he's like, we got our party back.
Yeah, but we haven't gotten to that email yet. Okay, so I think with this one also, he's talking about like the way I'm presenting this information, like the way you're moving your body around. So I think he's really, really triggered by his own discomfort in his body. Like I think this is someone who hates their body. And that he's like seeing me, it's like he keeps saying like, we're laughing. And I'm like, you're supposed to be laughing. Like that's what I'm doing. Do you think that like that's the point? That's what I kept he keeps mentioning the laughing as if that's not the point, which I'm like, you're welcome. And I love how he says like
stock of this country, you're like, thank you. Where's my special? Get me in.
Yeah, where's my Netflix special? If I'm the laughing stock of this country, like I've been trying to get one for a while. All right. So if I'm like the laughing stock,
That's a great bio too, laughing stock of the country.
and I think again, he's like, maybe he's trying to be like, oh, people are laughing at you, not with you. And I'm like, that's actually impossible for me. I'm a comedian. Laughing at me is laughing with me. I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
I actually don't fucking care. And I think that's the other thing that's like, that this guy doesn't understand is like, I don't fucking care. You know, and I'm not even just saying that, like, I don't care. No, I like actually don't care. If you're watching me, you're giving me views. If you're laughing at me, I'm still penetrating your psyche. You're listening to me. I am making an impact in your life. I am shape shifting your head and your thoughts. Like, I am infiltrating you. So it doesn't matter if someone hate watches me, fantastic. That's not a problem for me.
Yeah.
You know? Okay, so then I thought the interesting thing he was saying,
And then you ask, are you okay?
wait, hold on. We got to talk about the beta male. And okay. So like I live.
Wait, break down beta male, because that was something I had to Google. I'm just like, that's not a term
Oh, you haven't heard.
I'm like, I don't subscribe to this. I'm not sure what this is, but I had to Google it.
Oh, okay. Okay. So basically, I've researched the men's rights activist movement for quite some time because I have been making comedy about it for quite some time. And especially like in my sketch comedy days when I was focusing much more on that, I was doing a lot of men's rights activist comedy. And I also was doing a lot of like white supremacy comedy. And so I was watching a lot of these people's videos just to be like, who are they? So I could comment on it from a place of knowledge. So the alpha male versus beta male versus like a cuck, this is all like terminology and language within the men's rights activist movement around like what archetype of masculinity you are. So obviously an alpha male would be someone who's dominant, someone who has this energy, like let's say a big dick energy, right?
We are alpha males is what I'm getting from this. We are alpha males.
Well, I'm a very alpha personality.
Yeah, same.
And I think part of my alphaness, to be honest, is like, and it's more, I notice this with females a lot. Like if I get around another alpha female, I am kind of so alpha that I'll like be like, all right, sure, you can. It's like, I almost feel like a Chihuahua can have an alpha personality kind of vibe, you know? But then there is a Rottweiler. I'm a Rottweiler. So it's like if I have a friend who like wants to think they're the alpha, they can do that. But like when they push me or when they like really try to poke me, I will fucking bite them so fucking hard they do not even know what hit them. Because I'm like, absolutely fucking not. And then they're like, okay. And then I'll be like, okay, we can go back to our charade if you want, you know, but like, I don't have to assert my dominance all the time because, and I mean, this might sound like really fucking bitchy. I don't know how this fucking sounds, but I'm like tall. I'm like physically tall. There's not a lot of girls who are stronger than me, like physically, haven't met that many. And like, I don't know, I'm just not intimidated by people, especially like, it's really hard to intimidate.
Well, you also can like neurodivergently read people for filth, which is where I think our alpha friendship intersected. Because like I'm probably like a wolf, and like a wolf is not trying to like, it's like, oh, that's a Rottweiler. Like I'm just gonna go eat the bunny rabbit. Like, you know? And also like I think I've intentionally and strategically surrounded myself with only alpha females who are like aware of their power. Because I don't fuck with like an alpha that's not aware of their power. That's just giving like chaos and they're trying to argue. And I'm just like,
yeah. And I think, okay, so you're an alpha female, I'm an alpha female. We are not.
I can go beta and I will. Like I like to roll over and go sub, but I think my natural state is domination.
But you're also not. We are not competitive. And that has never been our energy. And
like twin flames. So people aren't going to understand this unless they understand that.
that actually has to be said. Cause like
I do hold more yin, I think, than you do. Like you have more chi. You definitely have more yang. You can stay up later than me. You can do more crunches than me. You can definitely lift more weight than like I'm like, okay. But as a wolf, I'm like, I respect that. Know your limit. Part of being an alpha is knowing your limit.
Knowing your fucking limit. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Totally. So like I think this alpha, and so the other thing about an alpha male, like a genuine alpha male, like if I were to think of a real fucking alpha male, not some like fake ass fucking dude, he's not on the computer. He doesn't know how to use a computer. He is chopping wood or like killing some sort of elk, or
he's not doing this petty shit.
He's not on the fucking an alpha
sending 25 laughing faces.
Absolutely fucking not. It's like the manliest dudes I know, the only time they would maybe get on a computer would be to send an invoice for the ditch that they dug. And really it's their wife doing it because they don't know how to create an invoice. Like I know some really fucking raw dog dudes because I live in a very fucking rural place.
I see them roll up on their motorcycle. I'm like, damn, daddy.
I know. I mean, like, it's just the real alpha men are not on their fucking computers. I'm sorry. They're just absolutely and fundamentally not. Nor are they just like randomly attacking women. So, but like, I think the alpha male that like is what the men's rights activists are defining as an alpha male might be different than like, oh, look, like, got some crazy lighting going, might be different than like my personal understanding and actually, no, I think if you met some of the fucking like some of the dudes that I've come across, everyone would be like, yes, that's an alpha male. I don't fuck with him. He's got 7 guns, no, thank you.
So, also, like, I would not fuck with your hubby. I'll tell you that much. Oh, fucking Scorpio.
The idea,
that's no beta male. I want this man to know. Oh, he did say to use his name.
I know, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah, because we didn't get
we haven't gotten there yet.
But his email is just so upsetting.
Yeah. Well,
if that's his name.
We'll get to that because we have to just go.
Mother didn't love you, and I understand why you're mad. If that's his name, Mummy was confused.
He's probably named after a grandfather. It's a kind of one of those old school names, No
type.
Okay, so the other thing I was thinking is like, okay, he's accusing me of like being, or he's saying that like whoever I'm with would be a beta. And I feel like I see the guy he assumes I'm with, like this guy probably wears scarves, and like I don't know, like I do.
He's like very concerned about germs.
Just have never attracted that kind of man. It's interesting to me that like there are, I know what they mean by like a beta man archetype, and like that would be somebody like a dude who would be like, I'm a feminist. Like I guess they see betas as people who are like pandering to women. And pandering is an interesting like energy because like pandering is fake. Like I think like I'm not into like a pandering either because I think that's disingenuine. Yeah. But it's like in the relationships that I've been in with men who are all pretty fucking aggressive and scary. Like I've never been with a dude who's not scary. I've never been with a dude who doesn't fight other men like a lot. I've never been with a dude who hasn't been arrested. Like,
your husband's legs are strong, and I'm not trying to get into one of those fights on the couch where you're laying down and you like fight with the feet strength because he would win and fold my body in half. You know what I'm talking about? Like the leg wrestling games, like he would win. Those are some strong legs.
He's got some strong ass. Like I don't know what to do with this lady. I just have.
It's nice.
So like. So, I mean, I think it's just
Because
interesting.
your light and your shadow are integrated. That's the psychic message. He couldn't penetrate you because you've already integrated your shadow. There's nothing like this man is revealing to you about yourself that you're like,
What? Oh, what have you noticed about me that I haven't fully unpacked with like witches, for the last 20 years of my life?
something else. Wait, I did want to say too is I feel like I also exist in this anomaly category where it's like I can feel him making assumptions about your politics and the way that you live and how you are based on your videos. I can fully say like how you present in your work is who you are, but there are also things that you keep close to you because you are dynamic and multidimensional, and anyone who thinks they've pinned you down and can assume all the things you believe about everything is sorely mistaken and sane. And that's what it is to be multidimensional and not to just like resonate with groupthink and identity politics. You're existing outside of that binary, which is what I think I was trying to say before, where like your work is beyond like groups of thinking. Like you go beyond the groupthink, but in these messages, he wants to put you in this
Box.
container and this box where he assumes he knows. And like that's why it would have been so cool if we could have talked, because he doesn't know.
I know. I'm like so legit disappointed that he pussed out. Okay, let's go to the email too. So I responded to his email. Are you okay? That was my only response. And he responded. I'll read this one. Okay, ready? Oh, I'm great. Actually, a lot of my friends were wondering if you are okay. They see you jerking and flailing your arms around like someone having a seizure. I guess it must be from the Republicans winning back the White House. I mean, are you just bitter because you're not wealthy like your counterparts? I'm far from being wealthy, but I'm not bitter about it. I actually have a pretty good life. Sorry to see you having a public meltdown. Me, I kind of prefer not to show my emotions on public platforms. Seems to work out for me. Hands, thumbs up emoji. I would probably suggest you cease with the quote crazy lady dances you do. There are already tons of not so nice memes about you, and sorry to say, they will on view forever.
Just like check your grammar at least.
I like keeping to myself and not making a spectacle of myself. I have a reputation to uphold. Hope this advice helps you out. If you have/intend to have children, this will most likely scar them for life. Smiley face. Take care.
You have one of the most well-adjusted kids I've ever met. I know a lot of kids. They're well-adjusted. She could take on anyone. Intellectually, physically, emotionally, spiritually. She can
Honestly,
really.
my daughter could kick this dude's ass. She is the only woman who I fear is my daughter. She is so strong.
Understood.
Her hands are like that of a chimpanzee.
Yeah, great massages.
She could rip a face off.
Great shoulder massage.
She's like not stronger than me yet because she's 14, but I know it is coming, and that's why I must like do some MMA training.
So he's not bitter. He's not bitter, and he doesn't show his emotions. He's just so buttoned up, and he doesn't make a spectacle of himself. I'm like, what are these emails you fucking?
I also was really
dude.
What is your reputation at your thing? Because when I think about my reputation, like what is the reputation I've created for myself online? It's someone that like is free to be myself, and I'm like, I am upholding my reputation. So whether you digest it, enjoy it or not, like isn't a concern of mine because my reputation extends beyond you. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, what is this reputation of yours that you're upholding, that you are afraid to speak your mind publicly?
Yeah, he probably has a super boring job that has.
And also, it was interesting. He was like, "You're mad that the Republicans got the White House again." I'm like, I've been making these videos. I've been making videos, dude, for 4 administrations. Like, where have you been? Like, are you new here? I've been truly making videos since 2006. So I'm just as mad at this administration as I was at the last administration, as I was at the administration before, as I was at my anger spans administrations.
Yeah.
And I love how he keeps mentioning his friends, me and my friends, me and my friends.
You couldn't even get a friend to come on. I mean, I wonder if that was it. He could get no friends to agree to come on, and he was just
Gonna come on by himself.
No one mentions their friends this much if they actually have friends.
Yeah, which I don't like. Like, I did feel like genuinely, I'm like, oh, like, you keep talking about these friends, you know? Like, that's the other thing is like, what people don't understand is that when lies are available for us to notice, you know, like I can tell when someone lies on a text message. I can tell, like, so I was really kind of concerned. I was like genuinely concerned. I was like, oh, like, do you have a reputation? Do you have friends? And I also think it's like, it's interesting that he has this assumption about my like quote unquote status, as if somebody who's criticizing late stage capitalism and massive global inequality like could only come from a place of um poverty or something. It's like, no, you can come from any social class and still notice and recognize like the deep issues of our current financial system. Like,
well, I've swallowed this, so you should swallow it too.
yes, so bizarro. Like, how is that working for anyone? You know, like even the extreme wealthy who I have had intimate access with, you know, like these are not people who I'm like, oh, wow, how emotionally well adjusted you are. You're completely untouched by the tentacles of capitalism. It's like, no, 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 no. Like the way that wealth affects a family structure, the way it affects people's psychology, the way it affects like how people relate and connect to each other is very toxic in wealthy families, incredibly so.
Also, only a bitter person.
Financially benefit from wealth doesn't mean you emotionally, spiritually, or psychologically, or physically even benefit. Like, yeah, you can get like. It's funny. I was just thinking about like Botox the other day, and like Botox would be like a privileged thing someone would do. You know, you have to have a certain income to put Botox in your face, or someone's got to be paying it for you, right? And so you would think, oh, what a privilege to have Botox. However, like when you do the Botox, it really impacts your neurology because your face cannot make micro expressions anymore. And like that neural pathway to the face is really important in terms of your emotional self and your empathy and your ability to understand your own feelings and your own relationship to like the rainbow and the kaleidoscope of emotions one might have that is expressed through micro expression. So when someone gets Botox, it neurologically will affect their empathy. It will neurologically affect their ability to understand their own emotional state. It will have a negative impact on your mental health. So it's like you're privileged and you are suffering the consequence of a privilege, you know, like that is, I think, the thing that we have to keep reminding ourselves is that no one is benefiting from mass inequality in any way, shape, or form. Absolutely no one benefits.
And privilege can be a buffer that keeps you from divesting from systems of oppression unless you actively choose to. I think folks who have less privilege, they're more likely to divest sooner because they're benefiting less, but to have privilege and to choose to divest is like, it's just indicative of a certain level of consciousness where you're able to hold the good of all beings, like in addition to you being a part of that within your heart and hands and choices. I also think that it's funny that he's like, I'm not bitter about it because this entire exchange registers as his bitterness. Like this is just coming from, this is pure, this is bitterness. And also, I don't think you can dislike something this much until it actually circles back around and the snake bites its own tail where you're like, I'm actually obsessed with this.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like,
So I'm going to read.
he's also not unique for that. Like, the amount of men who don't know you that have decided they're obsessed with you. I mean, same, but like not quite to your level. Maybe give me a couple more years and a few more fans, but like it is impressive how many dumb motherfuckers are obsessed with you. I mean, also like really cool people like me, but like he thinks he's unique.
I mean, we've kind of talked about this too, like the self-importance that sometimes people will have in terms of like how you impact them, right? And it's like, that's another thing that is, I mean, worth investigating. It's like I had this boyfriend once who was like, how can you break up with me? We have such interesting conversations. Like we have the best conversations. And I'm like, I have these conversations with truly everybody. It's because I ask questions, and like he thought our dynamic was so deep because we got deep. And I was like, but that's how I roll. Like I want to get deep with everyone I'm in contact with.
I feel like you can't have that experience of a person without fundamentally coming from a place of narcissism, because how they're expressing within the relational dynamic is not separate from you. And you make that about you, which is narcissistic and controlling and manipulative, honestly, and domination without consent, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually. And we will call you on it.
Okay, so I'm going to read my response and then you can read his next response. So I responded, I'm kind of flattered y'all sit around and talk about me, TBH. And you seem stressed out and have a lot of anxiety. I can feel it in your email. Maybe you should share your feelings more. Then you wouldn't be so pent up and send randos such odd messages. If you think this offends me, it doesn't. It just makes you seem kind of sad and bored and probably lonely. Hope this advice helps you out. I mean, it's a little snark, but also I stand by it. Okay, now you read his response to me.
I mean, it's actually really like 1% snarky. Like the snark is so low compared to what you were served. You were served a shit sandwich and you gave him back a grilled cheese with just like a little bit of fecal matter on top, just enough to give him pink eye or like upset his stomach,
Grilled cheese with a side of pink eye, yeah.
Okay, he says, it's not like we were talking positively about you. Trust me, far from it. It just warms my heart that the right has gotten under your craw. What's a craw?
I feel like it's like a bird reference.
Yeah, I'm like, is that a thing under the bird, like in the throat? We'll have to look it up. Oh, I'm sure your clientele has multiplied tenfold. Yeah, we wish in late stage capitalism. More than likely, it's probably lonely cat ladies and men who decided they couldn't cut the mustard of being a man and decided to change genders. The only two. I am actually stress-free. Actually, a great thing happened. The world righted itself and the people have spoken. The last 4 years felt like I was living in clown world where the woke reigned supreme. Now that cloud has lifted. The skies seem more clear. Idiocracy has ended. I know it will only be for 4 years, but I have a funny feeling that it will last longer than that. Here is hoping that it stays this way for a very long time. He loves the thumbs up. Oh, I was chatting with Dawn Marie, and we had quite the discussion about you. She wanted me to give a shout out to you. She said thank you for increasing her subscribers.
Who is Dawn Marie? I have
no idea. We need to look up that and craw. I'll do that. Here is hoping Dawn Marie.
Wait, sorry. So Dawn Marie, she just wanted to give you a shout out. She said thank you for increasing her subscribers. No idea who this chick is. Okay, now you're at. I just love how she is entertained by your seizures. Keep it up, girl. This is comedy gold. All caps. No, you're not a rando. Oh, wrong.
He did your instead of the R-E. I mean, it just shows. It's just so obvious. And then he did it right in the next line, so he's confused. You're my new best friend. I'll have to make a special trip to come see you. Yes, and then I will kill you, and that is a death threat. Google was kind enough to provide your address. Also, there's so many ghosts on your property, like they will attack this man. Like it's haunted. Well, at least you were able to find something useful to do with your sad little life. You have such a robust life. Oh, hey, I would love to use your name in the next video. That would be so cool.
No, I would love you to kick my name. Hold on, sorry. I would love for you to use my name in your next video.
Oh, he wants his name. No, your name sucks, dude. That would be so cool, and my buddies would get a kick out of it. I even give you permission to. Damn, I need to personally thank God for creating such entertaining souls. Please, please do not stop your videos. I especially love it when you stick your finger out of your pants. Could not stop laughing.
Okay, so this is the thing.
I like a little bile came up. I'll give him
I actually didn't read this one because it was like too long. So this is the first time I read it. My response to that one is, I can't read this because it's too long and not that interesting. I got an idea. Why don't you grab a friend and I will grab a friend and we Zoom call. We can record it and release it as a podcast. So that was my response to that email. But I will say, this saying how he found my address, I also found his address. So like that was, I mean, like I get that that's like a quote unquote threat, you know, but I'm like, I found your address. I found your, oh my God, we should have called him. I have his phone number.
Did we call him? We can always cut it out because he didn't sign our release form, which like we're very legal and organized around here. I've been sent to cease and desist more than once.
Let's debate calling him at the end.
Okay.
Because I have to
to the end.
Because I could find it all on. So like, I was like, oh, you can find people's addresses. And I was like, oh, now I have your address. But I think it's like interesting because he's like obviously trying to make that as a threat. And like, this is the thing that like this guy doesn't understand. And like, as someone who puts myself on the internet and who's had stalkers, you know, have had stalkers, real stalkers, ex-military stalkers, much scarier than this fucking dude.
I just want to put on record, I am scarier than anyone who ever has or ever will stalk you. And if they hear this, I just want them to know that. I know I'm pretty, but I am truly terrifying.
No, I had to make a soul contract with like where I'm at with this because I'm like, where am I at?
Like I could kill someone with my bare hands. Absolutely.
No, this was my soul contract. This is what I'm saying. It's like I had to know what I was capable of. And I was like, I would kill someone who tried to fucking hurt me.
In the cornea. These would go in the cornea, just right in the side. I've been waiting.
Yeah, and it's like
my whole lifetime.
Like, I know he's trying to intimidate me, but I'm like, oh, no. You should be so much more afraid of me than I should.
We will squeeze your eyeballs in our hands and then we will chop your balls off. And maybe just the tip of your dick so it's still there, but it's like forever, you know?
But I think like, you know, like in the conversation, because I know men have the reputation of being stronger than women. And like technically, I 100% agree with that. On the average day, a man is stronger than a woman. And this is something I think about a lot, you know, like physical strength. But then I also know that the most dangerous beast in the forest is a mother with her cub. So it's like, when we've all heard the stories of like a mother lifting up a car, you know, to save a child. Like there is a thing called adrenaline that all people have. And there is a well of strength that we all have to tap into. And I think the thing that like I just encourage everyone to understand is that like we all have a deep well of strength within us, and we all have something in us that is like very primal and very animalistic, and that would like defend ourselves. So it's like, I get that the intention of this guy by saying like, I found your address, you're my new best friend, I'm going to pay you a visit. It's like, I looked you up, man. I saw you. I saw your face.
Yeah, this is why I'm a Buddhist dropout, because I do not subscribe to nonviolence.
But you know what I mean? It's like, it's like, even him saying that, I'm like, okay, obviously, before I even looked him up, I was like, anyone who's going to make that threat on an email is like not serious, because it's like in writing. You know what I mean? It's just like legally stupid.
Well, this guy's obviously dumb, like not intelligent. That's the thing. He's not thinking that through.
Well, it's not about being dumb or smart. It's about the fact that like he is blind to how he's coming off. He lacks self-awareness.
Which feels dumb to me.
I wouldn't even say that that's dumb. I would just say that that's
Low level conscious.
it's indicative of where you are in your own personal evolution. Because I think if we're gonna just like subscribe to what this guy is like deeply insecure about is his own intelligence, which started off with the stupid bitch from the beginning. This is someone who thinks that about themselves, because no way would you start calling me that without that like imprint already being part of your own understanding of yourself.
And how flattering to be called a stupid bitch by someone like this. It's a compliment. Well, it's not complimenting you this whole time, from the comedy to like the
he's telling me I'm comedy gold, as if that's, I'm like, this is, should I actually wonder if I should send this email exchange to agents and be like, I am comedy gold. This troll insists upon it. I make him and all his friends laugh.
No, laughing stock of the country's a new bio. That's really good. That's really good.
That is really, I actually should put that on my.
Yeah, no, it's good. Elon Musk called me dumb and I'm the laughing stock of the country.
According to one.
Let's spell it like country, like cunt, and then dash RY.
But do you get what I'm saying about like his intention of like mentioning that address thing? You know, it's like, it's insincere. This is what I hate, a fucking false threat.
Yeah, and there's 3 hearts after it.
It's such a fucking false threat, especially when I went to his Instagram and looked at him. I'm like,
oh, I want to see
God. It like, honestly, like just like true. It's like,
how old is he?
Young.
Like how old?
20s, I think.
So yet again, he wants to fuck mommy. This is what we keep coming back to. He wants to fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that is true. I am his new best friend. I mean, like, the fact that I have his phone number is wild.
It's star 6.
But like, if I called him, then he would have my phone number.
No, he's star 69.
This is where I live.
Star 69.
Star 69. Oh my God. But then who answers like an unavailable call?
A loser?
We could try both. All right, we're going to think about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So then he wrote back, I remember I was like, do you want to be on the podcast? I can't read this. It's not interesting. And he goes, oh, sorry. That was my fault for assuming you had a higher education. I apologize. Like emoji. Sure. Always down for a quote, healthy debate, exclamation point. I know, thumbs up, laughy face. So many thumbs up. Then I respond, you're correct. I do have a higher education. I do have higher education. I didn't say a higher education because I felt like that sounded weird. I just wasn't interested, which is different. Okay, great. How about Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern time? I can send you and your friend a release form to sign, and we'll send you the Zoom link. And then he writes, okay, I'll reach out to my friend and see if he's available. And I said, K. And then he says, do you want to read this one?
Yeah, wait, let me scroll up. Yeah, so I showed my buddy your videos and said you wanted to do a podcast. After he couldn't stop laughing for several minutes, he said it was a hard pass. He told me if Joe Rogan hits me up, he'll do his podcast.
Okay, so this to me is the funniest of all. Like, first of all, again, it's like laughing. I'm like, perfect. My video worked.
For several minutes of laughter?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, truly, I
wish I could laugh for several minutes today. It sounds great.
That sounds like a deep healing. Like, I should get paid for it. And also, it's like, why would Joe Rogan interview you? Like, that's such an interesting...
He's not your friend. Joe Rogan doesn't give a flying fuck about you.
Yeah, like, why would w-
Joe
in
Rogan
what
would
world would that
like to
happen?
interview us, though. I actually think we would do a great interview with Joe Rogan. I think there would be a lot of,
Oh, without a doubt.
yeah.
I-
I think it's actually boring to not like Joe Rogan. I think we got to be thinking a little more complex than that. I don't love the dude, but like, I'm not like,
Regardless, it's like the self-importance of thinking that like the most, like one of the most
trolling. He's still trolling.
would want to talk to you. Like, why would they want to talk to you? For what reason? Why would they interview you? What have you done? What are your accomplishments? Like, I just thought that was like such a, that to me, like, that was like, I was like, oh, you're like, is this even a person? Like, are you even asking anyone? And who are you? Like, what have you done with your life? You know, I feel like that's the other thing is like a deep jealousy for like not having an audience, for not having people to talk to, for not being heard. Like, I think that's another deep insecurity that keeps kind of like coming through these emails is like not being heard and feeling deeply insecure about it, you know?
Well, and thinking like you have a group, like Joe Rogan is your club leader, and like,
Yeah, like Joe Rogan, why? Oh, we never really like talked about
actually kind of a libertarian.
who?
Joe Rogan's like more of a libertarian. I wouldn't call him like a white nationalist. Like, I think he's loyal to patriarchy. I don't think he's divested, but I think he's more annoyingly a libertarian, which is what makes him boring. If he actually challenged things, he would be interesting, but he's not. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think that like
libertarians are more boring to me than Republicans. It's like, make a choice.
yeah, it's because you're still propping up the status quo. You are.
Oh, and you think you're so much better.
I think that like when he was kind of going off as if like I enjoy like the last 4 years. Like he's like it's interesting this like culture war that he was talking about.
Right.
As if like now that Trump is president, that like trans people are gonna go away, they're gonna disappear, or like feminism is gonna disappear, or like all these things. I think this is where
well, unfortunately, a lot of funding has been cut, which is interesting. I mean, that's a whole other podcast. I was like,
that's another podcast, but it doesn't, I mean, like, I think this is like when he's talking about Trump, he's not talking about his political policies. He's not talking about his foreign policies. He's not talking about his economic policies. He's talking about the culture war, right? So like beforehand, I felt like this was a quote unquote clown show because white men weren't being honored. And now I feel like everything's right because white men are honored again. And all these other people who were like having a voice or being, a priority, a social priority, they can go back underground and rot. Like that kind of feels like the vibe, right?
yeah. Well, and also it's like if Trump is like the leader of the bullies, he's like, I'm going to protect this bully leader because if I protect him and I protect these ideals and these causes and I just pull my bootstraps up and I'm not bitter about my economic situation, then I'm going to be protected. Like, I think I can feel him feeling like he's more safe and protected now.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's the thing that like left-wing people really have to look at is this psychology of like when we otherize, then we are otherized. You know, it's like this is the boomerang effect. And
like we're not some basic like I've like hesitate around the words to use because like oh there's so much attached to all these words, but like we just don't we don't exist in a box. And I can see how he would make the assumptions based on your content and put you in a box because he's not critically thinking.
but I'm also not for his culture war. Like he's correct about that. You know, like I do not subscribe to the culture that he is pedestalizing.
Right.
You know, and I am not like, oh, I think this is good. I think this is a good cultural shift. He's correct that I don't think this is a cultural shift that like I am into, but what I think is important for like progressive people to recognize is that the more we push these people away, the more we push these dudes away, the more we try to, this is why I wanted to do the fucking podcast with him, is because I actually wanted to.
But they won't even show up. I mean, it just reminds me, like, not that I like forgot how like truly oppressive people can be, but I think I was so angry I was such an angry feminist cunt for so long, and it made me so sick, and I fucking lived to rip men like this apart and Republicans apart, that I just had to like grandmother myself into a different dimension because it just wasn't sustainable. And then I remember why for years I was just like completely consumed with this, because people really do believe that women are the lesser gender and that there's only men and women and that no one else, and not even like like trans or queer people don't have the right to exist, but beyond that it's demonic, and there's only like two expressions. I mean, we've said it before, we'll say it again. The archangels, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Michael, Archangel Sandalphon, and Metatron, they're non-binary.
Well, I know, but it's like, I think this is what we have to be real about, is that this is coming from such a deep fear, and such a deep fear of being ostracized. Like, he was like, I felt like I wasn't represented, and now I feel like I'm represented. And it's like, if the progressives want to like influence the culture war, it's going to be about radical compassion, understanding, and acceptance. And like that, this dude was too afraid. He was too afraid to have this conversation, because ultimately I was very, like, in my energy, this conversation was never going to get contentious. I was never going to shame him. I was never going to blame him. I just wanted to get to know him and understand how it felt in his body to do this. And like,
well, you're holier than I, because I probably would have done all those things, but you would have kept me. I would have followed your lead.
So then I wrote back.
I want to say, like, what a fucking baby. And I think the men who were like interested in your mommy blog are resonating with you talking about your kid having a tantrum, because they are in baby consciousness. Like, they have not individuated. They have not recognized themselves as God. They're still like a baby, needing external authority to take care of them and tell them what to do. So we are dealing with infant men, baby men. And maybe that's why I was like, I will breastfeed some incels into the consciousness of the Divine Mother. But I might actually retract that now, because my boobs are feeling pretty dried up after this no-show.
Okay, so then I wrote, so it was like, my friend would only be on Joe Rogan's podcast. And I just wrote, you only have one friend, ? I'm confused. And then he wrote, no, I have others. That one is the only one who has any interest in podcasts. I mean, it's just like, he presented as if him and his so many friends like thought I was such a piece of shit.
Like, at least keep your
I responded, okay, so just you tomorrow? I was going to have my friend Sarah, who does the podcast with me. Just thought you would want to bring someone as well. This is the release. Sent him the release. He wrote back, I can ask around. And I wrote back, just whoever have whoever sign the release before 11. And then I wrote, so I think then I wrote, below is the Zoom link. And then I wrote, P.S., you got to sign the release. And then after it was clear he wasn't coming, I wrote, you got scared.
Yeah.
And I'm just refreshing my email, and he never responded.
I mean, it's just so revealing. And this is why you can't keep your dumb motherfucking president or your party in control and in the White House, because the people upholding it are like this fuck. They can't back up anything that they say.
If you do it, then you can cancel.
Like, nothing that they say is backed up by any sort of fact or substance. Like, even the Bible, the version of the Bible that they point to, you can clearly track the way that it was passed between empires and changed over and over again by men in power to suit the agenda. Like, you really, and I feel like I can say this as a dumb bitch from the South who was like raised in the propaganda. the people I went to church with were seriously, and I know I've said dumb so many times, and actually one of my primal wounds is that I'm not smart enough, because I was told that over and over again by really fucking dumb people, because only dumb people tell you that you're not smart. But like, I really do mean, like, if I think back to being at my evangelical church in the Christian South, and the people that were surrounding me, or just like other like religious or very right-wing conservative spaces that I was put in, and I like sense into the intelligence of those people, they're not critically thinking. They're not asking questions. They've actually never studied history. They don't question things. They just don't.
I would argue, okay, so this is a great point, is because you're saying I have an insecurity around being called dumb. I was called dumb, and therefore you feel very comfortable calling these people dumb, right? And my initial point was like, this guy feels very insecure about his intelligence because he's calling me stupid. And then I've said to you, this isn't my insecurity. I almost refuse to call anyone dumb, because what I'm hearing is people who are programmed, who are misinformed, and who are afraid. Because critical thinking means that you have to face like what you've done, what you've heard. It means you have to question your parents. It means you have to investigate how you were programmed and conditioned. It means you have to investigate your relationship to your parents and the adults who programmed and conditioned you. Like, that comes from a place of deep fear. I think people are afraid more than they're quote unquote unintelligent or they're dumb. Because I mean, it's like you say this all the time. It's like, we're all divine, we're all this, we're all that. Like, we all have the universal intelligence within us. I actually fully and deeply believe that. And so I don't think anyone is dumb. I think people are braver than others.
All right, I'm just going to call you on it, because I have heard you call people a dumb cunt. So I am going to redefine what dumb means. And I agree with you. It's a lack of critical thinking. Like, that's what was being projected onto me when I was called stupid. This girl doesn't know how to have any original thoughts of her.
You were being called stupid because you were critically thinking. Like, why were you called dumb? If dumb people are already dumb?
Well, and I was pretty, and I was nervous, and I was just like, I mean, threatening, because I could read adults for filth. So they had to, like, dance teachers, like, I was too intuitive. I was too radiant. So I had to be fucking stupid so they could imprint that into me so I wouldn't challenge them. But I was critically. But then I realized, oh, they're calling me dumb because they think I'm not critically thinking. I'm going to, like, not only am I going to show them that I'm critically thinking, but I'm going to study and, like, imprint myself with information so I actually become intelligent. My dad, smart in his own way, didn't graduate from college. My mom probably barely graduated from college. Like, I was not raised by intellectuals. So I had to be like, I know I'm not stupid because I can critically think and I have my own ideas about things. But then I had to, like, match the world's definition of intelligence, which is having information. And so I fundamentally don't respect people who haven't gone out to seek the information. Like, I can feel when I call this man dumb, I'm like, he doesn't have enough information. And if he has enough time to write this email, he has enough time to seek out that information. Not only is he not critically thinking, but he's not seeking the information. Yeah, sure, he has a higher self and he's fully human and fully divine. But do I respect his human? No. Do I think he's fucking stupid based on the fact that he's not critically thinking or seeking out information? Yes. And I stand by calling this. I won't even flatter him with dumb cunt because that's actually, like, too much of a compliment. But he is a dumb man. He's a dumb man. I want to send him a t-shirt that says, "You're a dumb man." Also, I think I just have to play bad cop too for this podcast skit we're doing.
Well, no, I mean, I think
you're in the angelic light. I'm in black. Like,
I think it's like, I think my point is that, like, it's not to shame you or him or me or any of us. It's just to look at, like, where we come up with the language and the insecurities that we then, like, project onto others. And I think my only point was, like, when this guy called me dumb, it was so obvious to me that that was his own projection, right? And that was his own wound. And I think that when we think people are dumb, then we're not addressing what's, like, actually underneath the impulse to not educate yourself, which is ultimately fear. So yeah, of course, it's like fear can be in many different ways. It's like you don't need to go to Harvard to get a Harvard education, right? There's something called the Harvard Extension School, and Harvard professors teach there. And you could go to the Harvard Extension School. You could like download PDFs. Like there's many ways to self-educate, but a lot of people are not gonna, well, maybe not have the time. There's lots of reasons why people don't do things, but having, like exploring your own potential is really scary because it's like, what do you do with that? And I can't tell you how many people I know who are like talented or like have some skill or have something going on, but they don't fully explore their own potential because they're just like afraid of the failure. They're afraid of the pursuit. They're afraid of the heartbreak. And so when we look at it like that, it's like educating the self means that like you start to kind of have expectations of yourself to change your behavior. So if you don't educate yourself, you don't have to change your behavior. You can kind of just exist in a paradigm